Good evening and welcome back to Capitol Tonight, a statewide look at politics. I'm Tim Boyum. Lawmakers are back at work this week and have something pretty serious on the plate, say a roughly $22 billion budget. Both chambers have passed their own plan. Now they must figure out a way to compromise. Joining us tonight, State Representative Jason Saine, a Lincoln County Republican, and Tricia Cotham, a Mecklenburg County Democrat. Good to see you. Welcome back to the program.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Representative Saine, I have to start with you. I know you guys can't, what happens in caucus stays in caucus, but I understand the governor was back at the legislature today. I'm assuming this was about his bond proposal and the budget again?
There was cake, and there was a party, and now...
There's cookies. He likes to get
He does
cookies.
like cookies, right?
Good.
An oldie but a goodie, right?
You can guess. It was. We were talking about the bond package and talking about the budget and also economic development and how things are going. And it was just a good kind of inter-party conversation.
This bond proposal, it seems like it's unlikely to get on a ballot this November. And where is this at the legislature, at least with the House?
I don't know how unlikely that is. There's some movement in the House. There's folks that know that we can, interest rates at where they're at, we can borrow money and get it at a great rate. And it's almost, don't want to say free money, but it's very close. And so there are needs across the state. The challenge is putting together a package that folks will, one, endorse and vote for, and two, have things that we really. And so that's kind of the debate right now. So everyone's open, everyone's talking, and I think it's a good start.
All right, 82 conferees. As a Democrat, you're on it. I should say congratulations.
Thank you.
It's a large number. I mean, it's like you're sending in the military almost to go up against the Senate. I mean, do you feel like you're going to have a real say in what happens in these negotiations?
I think it was a good move from Speaker Tim Moore. I'm glad that he named Democrats. I think it does show the community that we are working together and that we want to work together. Of course, there will always be those key people who are going to make some decisions, but it's nice to be included and a part of it, and I look forward to getting to work.
Do you think you will have a say in some of this?
I think some of it I've already been talking with some of the education people about and sharing my input and the importance of funding our teacher assistants and raising teacher pay.
Was this as much about a message to the Senate as anything?
Oh, it certainly is. I mean, we had a great vote on our budget. 93 folks voted for that budget. Republican, Democrat, unaffiliated even. So, we've got something that represents what most in the state want to see happen. So that's a message in and of itself. And the fact that we put a conference committee together that reinforces the message that we're serious about this. We're enjoying good times because of good fiscal policy over the last several years. We're getting input from both parties in the House. So we've got something that can be supported in rural areas and in urban areas. And so I think it does send a message to say, hey, look, we are serious about what we're doing. And we're also very serious about the economic development package that we've put together. We got great bipartisan support on that as well. We're very cohesive in the House, and we're having the dialogue, which I think is also vitally important, which means we get input from all across the state.
From your perspective, what is the most important part about this? I mean, obviously education is a big deal for you.
I think education is, it's the biggest part of what we do as the state budget, and really making sure we're funding our schools, that we're paying teachers at the bottom. That's not good for any part of the state of North Carolina. And we need to again, make sure that our schools are fully funded and that our teachers are supported, and that means financial, but it also means additional resources. I've been in the classroom. I know how hard it can be and how much money I spend paying for supplies that the school should have provided for me, and we can't do that.
I know you don't want to put your cards on the table here, but is there anything that is off the table no matter what? I know you guys don't like the sales tax redistribution plan, but there's always negotiating that goes on. I mean, are there things that are automatically off the table no matter what yet?
Well, you're right. As the Finance Committee Chairman, we have looked at this redistribution policy, and we're not big fans. But we are open to talking. And there's a need that's there, and that's a need to assist rural areas. And so I think that's real. And so if the takeaway from all of this discussion is that, and we find a new way to do that, then I think that's very helpful. The plan as presented hasn't been, welcomed with open arms in the House, to say the least.
But it seems like the door's open a little bit.
The door's open to talk about best tax policy for the state. But you can't have best tax policy for the state with multiple tax increases over the next 5 years. And that would happen by expansion of the base. I mean, however you want to word it, but people would be paying more taxes. And so that's of real concern to the House. And so that's why we took the deeper dive into the package, to have the discussion. So I'd say the door's open because we are having a real discussion in the House. We've, again, in Finance Committee, Representative Cotham and I are both on the Finance Committee. We have had multiple discussions about, well, what would it actually do to a Mecklenburg or a Wake? What would it mean to a more rural area? My county's kind of in the middle. Lincoln's, we're in the shadows of Charlotte, but we have very rural areas in my county. What does that mean for us? So to have that discussion, I think, is vitally important because it does bring up those issues. If you're in a very rural poor county, how do you fund your schools? How do you build them? So that's a real concern, and we all share that concern, whether we're from an urban area or a rural area. We want to see this state be able to compete all across. So those are real issues that I think we should be talking about. So it's proper to have that debate.
How are you feeling right now? I know you got kids at home, so you probably want to stay in the Mecklenburg County area. I mean, what's your gut feeling about when we get out of here?
Well, the one thing about the legislature, you don't ever try to plan anything because the second you do, we're in session till midnight and really late, so it's really hard. People have joked about us being here around Christmas time. Some asked what Halloween candy would I give out. I would like to say that we're done right around Labor Day or a little bit after. Maybe there would have to be a special session later, but we need to get the people's work done.
Medicaid for that, is that what you're thinking?
Medicaid, we need to get this done and go home.
You're in some of those behind closed door meetings. What's your gut?
Well, my gut says, and what I know is that we're going to have this discussion, however long it takes. And Representative Cotham's right. You can't plan. Although the Panthers are playing in Dallas on Thanksgiving Day, so maybe we'll take a break for that.
Break for that? Oh my gosh!
That's my birthday. So,
oh well, there you go.
Make sure you're buying, right?
Yeah, exactly. So but really, we can't jam these things through because they have long-lasting impact. And just the priorities that Representative Cotham listed, whether it be teachers, schools, roads, name it, these are all very important. And the decisions we make will impact the state and put us either on a trajectory for success for the next 10 years or we'll fall behind. And none of us want to fall behind. I mean, let's be honest, whether it's the Senate or the House, everyone wants what's best for the state. So how we get there is the debate. And if it takes a while to have that debate, I think the folks that employ Representative Cotham and myself want us to have that debate. They don't want us to make quick decisions just because it's convenient. Yes, I miss my family the most of the weekends when we get to go home. But at the same time, it's because of my family and because of everyone else's family that we're there serving. We get this right, great. We get it wrong, we're going to end up trying to repair the damage we do if that's what we do by rushing and doing this too fast. So there's reasons to take a cautious approach.
We're almost out of time, but do you agree with that? I mean, we should say to get it done or to come back next year.
I do agree, and I think it should be said, as a Democrat especially, I do really commend the House leadership, and Representative Saine, of course, is a part of this, for really drawing a line in the sand and being willing to stand up to the Senate, because I have seen too many times, I've always felt like the House just gets rolled over. And these are important issues, and if we don't make this effort now, then in the future it's going to be even more problematic. So I do commend the leadership for saying we are going to fight, and I just want to make sure they stick to that and hold the Senate to it.
Well, we might need a Thanksgiving break if that's the case, because you guys are real far apart right now.
We are.
Thanks for coming in. Good to see you both.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.